Good morning, dear students. A warm welcome to all of you for our today's digital session in the new year 2022 for the subject Science and Technology, Section B. In our previous session, we have completed with the discussion of textual exercise for chapter number 15, Life Processes in Living Organisms. Today we are going to discuss the additional questions related to this chapter. As I have informed you, this chapter is very lengthy, so no activities we are going to discuss, neither we are going to write in the notebook for this lesson. After the additional questions are discussed, we will start with our revision for the upcoming unit test, which will be beginning very shortly. So today we are going to revise half of chapter number 18, Observing Space with the Help of Telescopes. So I request all of you to be present for today's session with a textbook in your hands for the discussion of additional questions. So let us begin with the first additional question for chapter number 15. The first question is, give the classification of nerve cells. We have studied about the nerve cell in this chapter. For the answer, you have to refer page number 172 in your textbook. Page number 172, where in the center of the page they have clearly given the heading as types of nerve cells or neurons. That is your answer. So let us begin with the answer. According to the function, nerve cells are classified into three types. Everything is given clearly in the textbook, so I am just reading. You can mark the part in the textbook. The first type of nerve cell is the sensory neurons. Sensory neurons conduct impulses from sensory organs to the brain and the spinal cord. Here the question can also be twisted and asked as an you can say objective question. Name who I am. I conduct impulses from the sensory organs to the brain and the spinal cord. So you have to write the answer as sensory neurons. So that way also question can be asked. Second is motor neurons. Motor neurons conduct impulses from the brain or spinal cord to the effector organs like muscles or glands. And the third one is association neurons. Association neurons perform the function of integration in the nervous system. Or it can be also asked as a full-fledged 3 marks question. Give the classification or nerve cells, or how are the nerve cells classified on the basis of their functions. So this is the answer for the first additional question. Now we move towards the next additional question. Here I have given it as a clubbed question together. Here you can see on page number 174 of your textbook, you have the functions of the various parts of the brain: cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata and spinal cord. So all the functions are given in the textbook. Now how the question can be asked here in the exam? I am not going to ask the functions of all the parts. I can ask you, give any 2 functions of cerebellum, or give any 2 functions of cerebrum, or give any 3 functions of spinal cord. So this way the question can be asked in the exam. So you don't know which part of the brain and related to what I will be asking. So you have to write this entire chart in your notebook, the parts of the brain and its functions. Now you might ask me that when it is given in the textbook, then why we have to write? You have to write because more the things you are visualizing, you are writing, you become more perfect. Just by reading and recollecting will not work out over here, because you have to attempt a full 40 marks written exam ahead, and then you are writing speed and the main spellings and all where you go wrong, that you come across when you actually write the things. So this entire chart means the functions of the various parts of the brain you have to write in your notebook. Next additional question is, write a short note on peripheral nervous system. You know that the nervous system is divided in three parts: CNS, that is the central nervous system; PNS, that is the peripheral nervous system; and the autonomic nervous system. So here the second nervous system you are going to write a short note on, that is PNS, peripheral nervous system. The answer lies in your textbook on page number 175. Right at the beginning, at the top, you can see the heading peripheral nervous system in blue color. A short answer only of 3 marks. Let us start marking from the very first line of that page. The peripheral nervous system consists of the nerves originating from the central nervous system. These nerves connect the central nervous system with all parts of the body. Now, two types of nerves are. Now, you know two types of nerves are involved in the PNS or the peripheral nervous system. The first is cranial nerves. Nerves originating from the brain are called cranial nerves. They are associated with various parts in the head, thorax and abdomen. There are 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Second, B. Spinal nerves. Nerves originating from the spinal cord are called spinal nerves. These are associated with arms, legs, skin and some other parts of the body. There are 31 pairs of spinal nerves. I hope you have marked. Everything is given as it is in the slide. It is given in the textbook. Now here a direct question can be asked, or I can ask as an MCQ. There are dash pairs of cranial nerves, or there are dash pairs of the spinal nerves, and different options will be given. Unless and until you know it thoroughly, you will not be able to attempt or answer the MCQ correctly. So here we complete with the discussion of third additional question for this chapter. Now the last additional question for this chapter is write a short note on spinal cord. Very, very important. Write a short note on spinal cord. Your answer is given in the textbook on page number 174. All of you are requested to refer page number 174. Right at the top, in the beginning of the page, you have the very first point of the short note. The spinal cord is a part of the central nervous system and is held within the vertebral column. Point number 2, continue marking. It is slightly thick but gradually tapers towards the end. Third, there is a thread-like fibrous structure at its end. It is called the filum terminale. Now this is about the description of the spinal cord. Now when it is a short note, then you have to write about the functions also. So our next topic in this answer is functions. Now where you will get the answer for the functions? On the same page. Just now I had discussed about the table, parts of the brain and the function. So towards the end of the page you can see clearly spinal cord and the functions are given. 3 functions are there that you have to write in this answer. Conduction of impulses from the skin towards the brain. Second function, conduction of impulses from the brain to the muscles and glands. Third function, functions as a center of coordination of reflex actions. You know, reflex action, it is an voluntary action which is mainly guarded or coordinated by spinal cord. So the description of the spinal cord along with functions is very important. It can be asked as a 5 marks question. And there, if it is a 5 marks question, then in the textbook on page number 174, you can see the diagram of the spinal cord. The vertebral column, spinal cord is clearly shown. That diagram, if possible, you have to draw it to make your answer, to make your paper more presentable. With this, we complete with the discussion of the textual exercise, the explanation of the chapter and also the additional questions for chapter number 15, and we complete with the portion for the unit test. Now, as there is still time ahead, we will begin with the revision. At least half of the chapter, chapter number 18, we will revise today. So, chapter number 18 is observing space, with the help of telescopes. As this chapter is fully explained to you and the question answers are also discussed, I hope for the revision you will not have any type of problem. I just believe that you have completed with the learning part the completion of notes in your notebook also. Observing space with the help of telescopes. As I had told you, in the early days, there was not a specific device which was invented or which was present for exploring or looking at the space. So, man, he had been curious about the sun as well as the moon and stars which were seen in the night sky. And then, using his boundless imagination, he tried to understand the sky as it was observed by his naked eyes. He noticed certain changes. Where he noticed the changes? In the position of the stars, which changed with time, and they had something to do with the occurrence of seasons, and thus he started linking the things. Whatever knowledge of the cycle of the seasons was present with him, he came to know that this was necessary for agriculture in agricultural field, and hence sky watching began to prove useful to him. So next is the position of the constellations was also useful to the seagoers for navigation. You know, in the early ages, the main mode of transport was through the oceans, through the sea, and at that time the position of the constellations played a very important role. Later on, today, 400 years after Galileo's use of telescope, tremendous progress it has been made in the telescope technology and in space science. So, who was this Galileo? In the year 1608, the spectacle maker and researcher Hans Lippershey, he discovered that seeing through two lenses kept one behind the other seems to bring the objects closer to us, and thus he made the first telescope. And Galileo, he made a telescope in the year 1609 and used it for space observations. What he realized, that after observing through the telescope, he realized that there were many more stars in the sky which could not be seen with the help of naked eyes. And then using his telescope, he also discovered the moons of the Jupiter, the black spots which were present on the sun, etc., etc. And this invention of telescope, this great leap in technology has helped to construct for us an outstanding picture of the universe. You know, universe is very vast, and it was possible to explore this vast universe only because of the discovery of Galileo. And thus, space science and technology are not only important for research purposes, but they also help provide us with many of the comforts and facilities which we enjoy in our everyday life. I need not tell you at this moment whatever online sessions we are witnessing or the luxuries we are enjoying through the different media like mobile phones, television sets, etc., etc., is due to the advancement in space science and technology. After that, people or man, he started thinking that whether only one type of telescope was enough to explore the entire universe or the solar system, and the answer was no. And then the different types of telescopes were invented according to the need of the hour, and that we are going to study in this chapter, which were the different types of telescopes which were invented. Now you all know that light, it emits, it is an electromagnetic wave, and every wave has a characteristic wavelength. So our eyes can see only that light which has the wavelength between 400 nanometer to 800 nanometer, which is known as visible radiation. In chapter number 12, we have seen the audible range of sound. that is between 20 hertz and 20,000 kilohertz. So similarly, with the case of vision, the light rays which fall between the wavelength 400 nanometer to 800 nanometer can be seen by us. The conversions are 1 nanometer is equal to 10 raised to minus 9 meter and 1 picometer is equal to 10 raised to minus 12 meter. Now this is the chart showing us the type of radiation and the wavelength. Radio waves, microwaves, infrared waves, visible light rays, ultraviolet rays, X-rays, gamma rays. So out of all this, you have to just remember for the visible light rays, that answer, that wavelength you have to remember. Now, of all the above types, our eyes, they are capable to see only the visible radiation. So, we use the visible radiation telescopes, that is the optical telescopes, which are made from the regular lenses or mirrors. But many heavenly bodies in the space, they emit radiations other than the visible light, and hence different types of telescopes were discovered or invented later on. So the first type of telescope which we are going to study now is the optical telescope. The first type of telescope which we are going to study is the optical telescope, which is also known as refracting telescope. Here, most of the optical telescopes which we use, they are made up of 2 or more lenses. Here you can see in the figure, one is the objective and the other is the eyepiece. So what is the function of both? The main function of the objective is to collect the maximum amount of light coming from the heavenly object, and this objective lens has to be made as large as possible, and using the light which is collected by this objective, a smaller lens which is called the eyepiece, it produces a large image of the source. Now, why this optical telescope is also called as a refracting telescope? About refraction, you are going to study an entire chapter next year in the 10th standard, that is laws of refraction. So what is refraction? Now light rays, they change their direction as they enter a lens from the atmosphere. Atmosphere is a different medium, lens is a different medium, both are transparent medium. So it is the property of the light to change the direction when it travels obliquely from one transparent medium to the other transparent medium, and this is called refraction. So here you can see that the light rays is entering from the atmosphere to the lens, and again when they enter the atmosphere after passing through the lens, and this phenomenon is called as refraction, and hence such telescopes are called as refracting telescopes. Now, although this refracting telescope is used for space observations, certain difficulties were put ahead. Were there different difficulties the scientists came across while using that? So what are the difficulties that we are going to see now, one after the other? Now the difficulties which are faced, let us see one by one. The first difficulty was, it is very difficult to make very large lenses, and also large lenses are very heavy and tend to get distorted. We have seen the first condition in the preparation of optical telescopes. They have told to collect the maximum amount of light coming from a heavenly object, the objective lens should be made as large as possible. So, if we wish to obtain a bright image of a source by collecting the maximum possible light from it, then the objective lens must be made as large as possible, and it is very difficult to make such large lenses. So this was the first difficulty. The next difficulty is, as the objective and eyepiece are placed at the opposite ends of the telescope, the length of the telescope also increases with the increase in size of the lenses, and the telescope becomes very difficult to manage. And the third is, the images which are formed by the lenses, they have errors of colors, which is called chromatic aberration. So if there are errors of colors, then you will not get the image produced with the proper color. So these were the different difficulties which were seen which the scientists came across while using optical telescopes, under that the refracting telescope. So now how these difficulties are removed? By replacing lens with the help of mirror. Let us see. To overcome all these difficulties, the telescopes are made using concave mirrors. So in place of lens, it is replaced now by concave mirrors, because as the light rays get reflected by the mirrors in these telescopes, they are called as reflecting telescopes. See, two exactly opposite concepts. The first one are called as a refracting telescope, whereas here the light rays get reflected by the mirrors, and hence the telescopes which are made by using mirrors are called as reflecting telescopes. Now, what are the advantages in making use of these mirrors? In order to get a bright image of a source, large mirrors are necessary, but here you can see that it is very easy to make large mirrors as compared to making large lenses. So the first difficulty, that to make very large lenses, it is very difficult. That difficulty is overcome because it is easier to make large mirrors as compared to large lenses. And also one more thing here is that big mirrors, they can be prepared by combining several smaller pieces. The weight of a large mirror is also less than that of a lens of the same size. So the images which are formed by the mirrors, they do not have any errors of colors. Here you have seen in the previous difficulty that the images which are produced, which are formed by the lenses, they have errors of color. So this difficulty is also removed, and hence by using such large telescopes, the human beings can see faraway stars, galaxies, which we could never have imagined using or seen using our naked eyes. Now, here I have told you reflecting telescopes are used in place of refracting telescopes. So, the two types of reflecting telescopes which we are going to study in our syllabus are, one is the Newtonian telescope and the other is Cassegrain telescope. So, let us see the structure and how it works for the Newtonian telescope. Here is a diagrammatic view of Newtonian telescope, which makes use of a concave mirror, a plane mirror, and also you can see here a eyepiece. Now, the light rays which are coming from the space, they are reflected by this concave mirror. You have studied about details of the concave mirror in chapter number 11, that is reflection of light. So the first step here is reflection of the light rays from the space by the concave mirror. Now before this reflected rays, they converge at the focus, they are deflected again by a small plane mirror. So see the setup. It consists of a concave mirror, a plane mirror, and what happens as a result of this? The light rays, they get focused at a point lying perpendicular to the axis of the telescope's cylinder, and they pass through this eyepiece and we get a magnified image of the source. So this is how a Newtonian telescope works. Now the different types of questions based on it are, you have already seen the types of question in the textual exercise. Question number 5, if you refer, they have given the setup of this telescope wherein labels are not given to us. You have to identify which type of telescope it is. Then you have to draw the diagram, label the parts, and then the different questions which are based on it, that is its working, which other type of telescope makes use of such things. So how you are going to identify? You know that in Newtonian telescope concave mirror is used, whereas convex mirror is not used. In the next telescope which we are going to study, Cassegrain, you are making use of convex mirror first. So that is the main difference on the basis of which you are going to classify it. You are going to identify it. So here is a figure of Newtonian telescope, an image. Next telescope which we are going to study in our syllabus is the Cassegrain telescope. which makes use of a convex mirror, a concave mirror and an eyepiece. Here there is no plane mirror, whereas if you see the previous slide, here there is a plane mirror. So immediately as you see the plane mirror without the label also, you can immediately identify that it is a Newtonian telescope. So these are the different hints which I am providing to you. Now let us move to the Cassegrain telescope, which makes use of convex, concave mirror and an eyepiece. Now here also, like the previous telescope, it makes use of a concave mirror. You had seen in the Newtonian telescope also concave mirror was used, but here the light rays after reflection, they from the concave mirror, they are reflected back towards it by a small convex mirror. Now you know concave and convex mirror both are two contradictory types of mirror. In one case, the outer surface is reflecting, in the other case, inner surface is reflecting. So, the light rays after reflection from the concave mirror, they are again reflected back by a small convex mirror. Then they pass through a hole at the center of the concave mirror and then through the eyepiece, which is situated at the back side of the mirror. So eyepiece is same, and then this eyepiece does its work of giving a magnified image of the source as we have seen in the Newtonian telescope. So the major difference between Newtonian and Cassegrain telescope is Newtonian telescope makes use of a concave mirror, plane mirror and an eyepiece, whereas Cassegrain telescope, it makes use of a concave mirror, convex mirror and an eyepiece. Why I am highlighting this point again and again? Because you know in question number 4 of your textbook, you have a full-fledged question, which type of telescopes can be made using a concave mirror, convex mirror, plane mirror and a lens, and then you have to draw the diagrams of these telescopes. So with this we complete with the optical telescopes, both the types, refracting and reflecting telescopes, and we will end up our today's session up to optical telescopes. In our next session, we will complete the remaining part revision of this chapter, that is the radio telescopes, then what difficulties are faced when the telescopes are earth based, they are situated on the surface of the earth, and in short about the ISRO. After that, in the next session, we are going to start with the revision of chapter number 15, that is life processes and living organisms. Half we will revise and half we will just revise in the next session after that. So when we go slowly, the topics will be carefully revised and recollected, memorized by you, and I don't think you will have any difficulties in the upcoming test, because offline also we have discussed and revised these chapters. Thank you, dear children.